It's another Friday and it's the growth process. I missed you guys last week and I hope you missed the growth process too. So today I'm going to be continuing with part 2 of the People series, and it's going to be about communication. So are you ready? Story of Mary and Martha from Luke chapter 10 verse 38 to 42. So here is a case where Jesus goes to visit Mary and Martha in their home. Mary decides to go and sit at Jesus' feet and listen. Instead of Martha directly asking Mary to come and help her, to ask her why she's not making any effort, she goes straight to Jesus and asks him that hasn't he seen that Mary is not doing anything and that he should tell her to come and help out. I'm sure she was even more annoyed by what Jesus said, because his response was, Mary has not done anything wrong. In actual fact, she is doing the right thing, so why is Martha stressing? And I just thought, why is it that how come Martha didn't speak to Mary directly or tell her directly what her issue was, but just approached Jesus and asked him in Mary's presence? It just got me thinking. And the first thing I got from this was that sometimes, or most of the time, it will be more effective if when we have an issue, we approach the person that we have an issue with directly. At times, involving a third party may seem like the best solution then, but one thing I've learned about third parties is, you see, in a case where maybe someone offended you, and instead of talking to the person directly, you went to speak to the third party. What if after some time you and the one who offended you, the offender, make up? It's difficult for human beings to forget. So whereas you may have moved on, it's in the third party's mind that this is how this person is, and then it will be hard for them to forget, and it will form a certain impression in their minds. Sometimes it even shock us that we think someone has offended us, but they even have no clue that what they are doing, we are not happy about it, or we were not happy about it. So I think one step that really helps with effective communication is at times approaching the person directly. It's only in extreme cases where we may need to involve a third party, if maybe the offender is proven to be very difficult or stubborn. That leads me to my next point, how we need to be very careful the utterances that we make, the words that we say, because sometimes our words can scar people for life, at times even when we apologize for it. So it's better to just be careful what we say, so we don't have to do any damage control. That's not to say you have to always sugarcoat some things, but we need to learn how to encode certain messages so it can be decoded in the right way. Let me go a bit technical here. Let me just give a quick reminder here. Sometimes we are so quick to exclaim negative things when we are facing certain issues, like, hey, I'm dead though, like that, Ghanaian thing, hey, asema about those things, hey, do you asema to me on those things. We need to be very careful the things we say, even when we are joking. One thing I've also realized is that timing is very key. If, let's say, for example, I want to communicate with someone and he's watching soccer, you see, even though he'll be listening to me, his attention will be divided, and to some extent I cannot blame him because I did not choose the right time to make my point known to him. We need to identify which time will work for both parties so we can have a fruitful discussion and communicate clearly what we want to say. Now, in communicating, we also need to make sure that we also take the time to listen. Sometimes we are so focused on proving that we are right that we end up just talking at the person instead of talking to the person and also giving them the opportunity to also say or express how they are feeling. So sometimes we need to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Another thing that is equally important is the medium. I realize that sometimes texting is not the most effective way of communicating. For instance, or is it me for instance? For example, me, I usually say okay in a full okay. Sometimes I even add many more Y's. So a day where I just say okay, someone may easily assume that, hey, why today is this lady in a bad mood, or what exactly is the problem? So you see, these are the little ways by which texting could easily lead to our words and what we are saying being misconstrued. So it's very important for us to identify the right medium. It takes a lot of boldness for someone to express how they are feeling to you. Charlie, this thing that you did the other time, I didn't really like it. The way you said this, the way you went about it, then you're like, oh, you like taking things too personal. As for you, you are too emotional, those things. what someone may take personal, you may not necessarily see it as a big deal, but we need to be very careful that we don't belittle others' feelings. Otherwise, defenses will quickly go up and prevent them from saying what they have to say, and then it's back to square one. Now, this is not to say that it's all the time that we reach out or communicate that it may be so effective or go the way we wanted to, but at least we can sit back and know that we made an effort and then it was worth it. We have tried and taken the first step. So, have we ever found ourselves in Mary or Martha's situation where we needed to talk to someone, but we ended up not talking to them directly and handling it a whole different other way? God willing, we'll tackle forgiveness, but in the meantime, if you've missed out on any of my videos so far, just grab some popcorn and go and or anything you fancy and then catch up. Till next week, God willing, take care, stay safe, bye.